Okay, so continuing with the sadhana and still related to sort of the aim, the purpose of doing the sadhana, just very simply, it's for liberation, dharma.
解脱，也就是藏文的 tarpa。有时候我们称它做 tarpa，有时候我们称它做菩提，有时候称它做成佛，不管你怎么称呼都一样。那个就是修成就法的目的。要知道，我们大多数人，我们并不知道那个是什么，因为我们没有参照点。出老脑。Yeah. 那有时候我们会听到一些故事，就是说成就的众生呢，可以做这个，可以做那个。但是除此之外呢，我们并不知道到底什么是真正的成佛。那有很多的文献可以读，但是很多的描述都是很抽象的。我想对我们来说，像是那些关于解脱的故事，关于西方极乐世界的体验，对我们来说，基本上好像就跟那些有神论的天堂的体验，好像是没有什么差别的。就像他们会说啊，你去了天堂，就会从此幸福快乐的过下去，不是吗？我们并不知道解脱之后到底是什么，而那却是就是你想要做的目标，就是要能够解脱。
And yet that is your goal, to be liberated. If you want to go to, if there's a desire to go to Hawaii, it may be because you have been to Goa recently. So you have a reference: beach, blue sea, waves, salt water. If you like that, then there's a reason to go to Hawaii, long for Hawaii. The liberation that we are all supposed to be longing for, we don't have much. And anyway, on an experiential, emotional level, anyway, we can't even have it, emotional level anyway. What you have is this very, what Chogyam Trungpa Rinpoche called, kind of, I guess so, that's what he called, but anyway, I don't know. Anyway, something like a heart of sadness. Some of you kind of obvious and continuous, others once in a blue moon, when things continuously doesn't work, or when some of you have done that, done this, gone there, been here, there, you have achieved everything, every positions you have tried, you understand? Everything you have achieved. And suddenly, is that all there is? Can't be. Has to be something. There has to be something extra. This life, purpose of life or the goal of life, there has to be something more than that. That awkward feeling, some of you may have. And this, according to many masters of the past, they will consider this as a great blessing. In fact, they will, since we are talking about sadhana, I'm bound to talk, I have to talk about deity, deva. In fact, many, like I was, I think I quoted this, Jamachan Chogulodu's praise to Manjushri. Well, Manjushri is a deity. But even the Lord Manjushri, you hear all kinds of things, right? Things like, oh, he's a disciple of Buddha's. He's the instigator of the teachings. He also is the one who plays pranks, sort of, almost like pranks. He's the one, and then at times we hear he's the teacher of all the Buddhas. Then we hear he's orange, he's yellow, he's blue, he's black. We hear he holds sword, he doesn't, all that. Then also sometimes we hear he has no color, no shape, nothing, no substance. Sometimes we hear that he is this very moment cognizance that we have, as we spoke earlier. But anyway, I think we somehow vaguely talked about what deity is this morning. This unity of emptiness and luminosity. This, whatever you have, that what is the phenomena that can be everything and nothing together. Simultaneously, water is simultaneously water and home. Simultaneously, bad is simultaneously good. Good is simultaneously bad, sahaja. Short is simultaneously long. Long is simultaneously short. In other words, non-duality. This, supposedly, this genuine sadness, genuine heart of sadness is supposedly the kicking, if you like, of this thing. It is this that is making you sad. It is this that is making you awkward. It is this that is making you feel there has to be something much more than just breakfast, lunch, job, promotion, pension plan. Has to be. It is this that's making you unsettled. But you see, the thing is, every time you are kicked by this thing and make you unsettled a little bit, we have invented thousands of apps and gadgets and entertainment to get ourselves numb, because we just can't bear this sadness, this loneliness, this sort of transcendental alienation. We just can't bear it. So we need to numb ourselves with all kinds of injections, literal ones and metaphorical ones, and including the so-called spiritual path. We numb ourselves, we entertain ourselves, we occupy ourselves. And then of course, all these things, they have expiry date. And when those things doesn't work anymore, then you go deeper, boredom and depressions and so on and so forth. But anyway, this, I said, you don't really have a reference of what is liberation. But you should not lose your hope, because you have this time, not all the time, I wish all the time to time, you have this strange, unsatisfying, unsettled, awkward sadness. And that is so important. I think it is also that is making you kind of a sober human being. It makes you sober, it makes you good, if there is such thing. Anyway, but still, I still need to talk to you about what is liberation. So the goal, right? Goal, the liberation, especially when we are talking about the sadhana. At the end of the sadhana, we even do some, jump, then jump, then oh Bhagavat. Let's say we are doing the sadhana of Aryatara, oh Bhagavati, Aryatara. May you always protect me, may you always, guide me, may you always, bless me with compassion, wisdom, so on and so forth. And then at the end we say, may, and eventually may I, Gopang, we call it, the word is Gopang. It's such a beautiful word. In Tibetan we call it Gopang, meaning may I actualize, Gopang, your state, your space, basically, may I become you. We always say that. It doesn't have anything to do like, it is not at all even remotely close to, oh, Aryatara, please bless me so that I will one day live happily forever and take lots of selfies every day. Not at all, not even remotely. So what is this Gopang? What is this state? I'm sure in this audience you can at least accept that this state can't have. Yeah, I'm sure, well, at least you may be fathoming things. Oh, okay, when I become, finally when I reach that state of Aryatara or the Bhagavat state, that I will no more have neck ache. I will no need to make schedules. Actually, it's kind of, if you think it properly, it's kind of boring. I don't need to work anymore, so every day is a Sunday. How boring is that? And I don't need to update my apps, because it's always instantly updating all the time. See? Normal human beings can't fathom this. I will live forever. Oh, that's a painful thing, right? What do you want to do by living forever? Sure? Are you sure? You really want that? As a Chinese philosophers say, you should be careful what you are wishing for. But what is that Gopang, that state of the deity, the Deva? Okay, one big one. No time, no more time. And this you have to accept, no matter what kind of, atheist, scientist, and non-believer you are. Even the scientists have agreed with us that time is relative. So when you finally free yourself from the notion of time, somebody pushing, somebody, like time limit. Just imagine when there's no more time, nothing. When there's no more time, what does that mean? There's no such thing as progress. There's no such thing as immature or maturity. Because all this is a time talk, expiry. Obviously no birthdays. When there's no time. And you know what? This is very, very acceptable, really. And you are already doing it. And I know you are doing it, and not only you are doing it, big part of you going out there longing for pleasure is actually you are sorting after a timelessness, such as even a glass of whiskey. You just want to kill the time. I mean, we even say this, the word, kill the time. What a profound word. But you end up, what's the opposite of killing? Making it revive? You always end up reviving and giving birth through time. No more time. This is very experienceable. When you are totally free of time, just that alone will do. This is very achievable. And if you can achieve even a glimpse of timelessness, what is death? And therefore, we also don't have the burden of purpose of life. And when there is no burden of purpose of life, that's it. Arya Tara, Arya Manjushri, Arya. The word Arya, sublime. In the Tibetan, we call it Pak. Pak means sort of transcend. You are not ordinary. As long as you dwell in the time, you are ordinary. And you can do it because time is relative. This is very achievable. You have experienced this many times. Okay, we will come back to this if necessary. I will see as we go on with the question and answer. But I think now we will go to the structure of the sadhana. Okay, the structure of the sadhana. Before structure, maybe ingredient. What makes a sadhana? What is the component? In fact, it's not only sadhana. Every Buddhist practice, no matter what, small thing, big thing, whatever, must have two indispensable ingredient. It has to have the element of wisdom, and it has to have the element of method. This is tabdang, shut up, we call it, must. You cannot not have one. This is like, if you miss one, then that's a faulty. In fact, what makes the path very, very good path, authentic path that is used, the valid path, is when the path has this component. Very important. Okay, for instance, if you go to Burma, Sri Lanka, monks will be begging food. And they will come. I was just recently, I do actually go there because, as we spoke this morning, I have a body, I have a feeling. Feeling is so important for me. I want to get inspired. I want to sometimes experience the Magadha days, Magadha or Vaishali days, when Buddha was alive, when Buddha was begging alms with all these beautiful, serene monks in the street. I wanted to experience this. And where else? But in places like Laos, so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. You know, early morning, sunrise, 5:30, all these monks silently walking. Villagers, they all have their rice they offer. That, for the monks, it is their discipline, their practice, begging food. In fact, I was talking just yesterday, you know, begging is actually begging food. One of the most highly venerated, you know, what we call noble living. I know now we have reached to a era or the age where begging is not considered noble. It's a, you know, a nuisance. So anyway, it's a discipline. And in many, it's an incredible method, you know, begging, because it really tests so many things. Not only it has a, you know, physical exertion, so, you know, pride, so on and so forth, for the monk, but for the giver also this is a chance to accumulate merit. Kushala, we call offering the Sangha. But these are all method. And you need to know, even in the Sharvakayana, Theravada, whatever, Kushala, practice of, you know, making merit is never devoid, should not be devoid with the wisdom of anatta. So they, you know, in one hand, we talk about selflessness. No giver, no alms, no begging bowl. Anatta, you know, selflessness. No rice, no, you know, no merit, therefore. All that, but at the same time, the method of giving. This is an important aspect of the, generally, not just only the sadhana, every Buddhist practice. If you have that, even a mundane act becomes, if you like, if you want to put it in the tantric context, even a mundane taking, well, and this is true. I will speak this a little later, but even taking a shower, yourself thinking that you are the deity. You are not even offering shower to anyone. You are taking shower yourself. Supposedly you accumulate a lot of merit, more merit than inviting thousands of Buddhas and offering them shower. Why? Because of the wisdom and method, you know, combination. So wisdom and the method is a must sort of ingredient. One thing is, you know, and then remember right at the beginning this morning I talked about culture, cues, miscue. Method has a lot of that, and then therefore also the interpretation of the wisdom also ends up becoming different. So yes, if you go to Tibetan areas like here, many times wisdom, method is always hijacking the wisdom. Wisdom we don't have. Many times. this also exists within the, like within the schools, I think, since there's some Japanese, participants. Like there's a beautiful temple in Tokyo. It's quite a big, and as you enter, the main shrine has one big stone and one small stone. And the big stone is the Buddha, and the small stone is the Ananda, they say. Fantastic. It's an incredible, message in there. I'm not even going into this area where, like nature. We are not talking about the stone, nature, environment, not that. It's just Buddha himself, Shakyamuni Buddha himself said, those who see me as a particular form, they have a wrong view. So why not? A stone is fine. But because many times Zen teaching, sometimes they get, one could see sometimes this kind of statement and this kind of representation is very wisdom oriented. So, I don't know if I am a little bit teasing Japanese. They get deprived from the chaos that is happening in places like Varanasi. All the chaos, the flowers, the half-burnt incense, and then the bell, and then, all this chaos. And then all these gods, like statues smeared with like sindurs. They are also so beautiful. But the thing is, in places like India and also in Tibetan area, too many ritual, too many representation, too many statues. So the wisdom, so you go and talk to any of the Tibetan villages here and give them one big stone and one small stone and say this is Buddha and Ananda, most likely they will not accept. This happens a lot. But anyway, I've told you, ingredient, tabdang, sherab, is always there. Ingredient, wisdom and method. And many times they overlap. Okay? So I will tell you, okay, Padmapani, one face, two hands, with a flower, very appealing. Very handsome, very appealing method. Suddenly, Avalokiteshvara with the forearm is leaning towards the wisdom because that's from the dualistic point of view, it's not acceptable. But we shove it down to the mind of the practitioner. No, you are a man, okay. Visualize it as a woman. Stuff like that. You have 2 arms, we know this, but from today, you have 1,000 arms. Not just symbolically, you actually do have 1,000 arms. So on and so. Or you are an animal, like a horse, or like a sow, or a buffalo, especially if you are practicing Manjushri, at times a buffalo or at times turtle. So all this like mind, boggling, sort of shifting, like totally not normal. This exists all the time. So, okay, in all the path of Buddha Dharma, ingredient of the wisdom and the method is must. So this is given. Now, the sadhana. keep in mind, sadhana definitely has to have this. But the sadhana has its own ingredient based on that. And they also all interrelated, and they are also like overlap, interconnected. And depending on different kinds of sadhanas, also different kind of ingredient and different kind of structure. And what I'm going to tell you is a very general one, which will help you, I think. Okay, so a sadhana always begins with a refuge. You have to take refuge. Now, what kind of sadhana are you reading? Is it a very, very, even in the Tantra has four different kinds, many tantras. But generally we talk about 4 different kinds of tantra. It's very interesting, the 4 tantras. What is the opposite of obnoxious? What? Appealing? Agreeable. Okay, so if you are the most agreeable human being and who is so stuck of being agreeable yourself and expecting the others to be agreeable also, then you deserve Kriya Tantra. It is. But if you are really, really obnoxious, and you also don't mind the others also to be obnoxious, yeah, more likely you are vessel for the Anuyoga Tantra. And this is beautifully depicted even in the paintings. Like if you go to Koya-san in Japan, Koya-san, who practices mainly Yoga Tantra. Okay? Mainly, Yoga Tantra. So the Koya-san deities have consorts, but the consorts are sitting always there. You understand? The deity is somewhere here, the consort is sitting there. Appealing, agreeable in the normal way. You understand? Now, I don't need to explain too much. If you go to a Tibetan temple, it's like, I don't know why the Tibetan temples have not been ordered by the census board, that all Tibetan monasteries should have rated R, 18 years old, only entry permitted. I cannot understand, because it's all there. But things like 18 years old, all this is again the cultural cue, miscue, cultural cue. And then I've also said there's the modern culture, the ancient culture, the West, the East, the South. All that is too complicated now. So complicated. But I think you know what I'm talking about. So sadhana has a lot of different things. And in Tibetan tradition, we practice almost all. But mainly the Anuyoga Tantra and sometimes the Kriya Tantra, such as there's a practice called Nyungne, which a lot of people like. Nyungne, which is basically fasting and not drinking and taking the silent vow, very, very, because fasting, silent vow, it sounds so serene and spiritual. In the normal mind, one would think someone who doesn't talk much or not at all, more as a spiritual than someone who just completely talk all the time. So anyway, Kriya Tantra has that. So Kriya Tantra has that kind of sadhana also. I'm not going, since I'm talking to people who have been receiving the Nyingti mainly, I'm assuming I'm going to talk more about the yoga or Anu-Yoga Tantra. So in the Anu-Yoga Tantra sadhanas, there are structures a little different. So I already said refuge always begins with it. Actually, highest Anu-Yoga Tantra sadhanas even don't need this, but let's not go in there for now. Stand it once. It begins with a refuge. And I have to say, refuge, I take refuge to Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, all that. But Tantric exclusively, the understanding of the refuge is we call it, to be, even understanding the very word refuge for Tantra is a little different, I would say. So usually refuge is surrendering, right? Surrendering, accepting, surrendering. I'm thirsty, so without the doubt, I surrender to this phenomena, because I know this is undeceivingly going to quench my thirst. I can trust this. I can trust this one, that this is going to quench my thirst. Yeah. Now, Tantric people, they think, yes, you can take refuge to this guy called Shakyamuni, who was the son of the Maya Devi, Shuddhodana. Sure, relatively, but this is a historical figure. A lot of it is a lot of that has your own interpretation, your own feeling, so on and so forth. So for the Tantra, accepting and surrendering to this deity and the Buddha we talked earlier, the unity of the emptiness and the luminosity, that which you have, your mind, that undeceivingly, it is the truth, right? Fire is hot. It's never going to sort of one day become cold and then next day again back to hot. It's always fire is heat. Your mind, the essence of the fire. Essence of the fire is heat, or the character definition. Appearance can be orange, red, and if you are distant, you are far from the fire, you will not feel heat. That's but the actual fire, if you touch, it's going to burn you. Likewise, your mind that you have, yes, it's sometimes muggy, it's sometimes agitated, it's sometimes happy, unhappy, bad mood, good mood, whatever. But the essence of this mind is none other than the unity of emptiness and luminosity. And this you can trust. It's not never ever going to change. So that is the attitude of the tantric refuge. So depending on what kind of sadhana, and also, sadhana texts composed by different masters. There are some masters who may have composed the sadhana for a specific beings who may not still have a hard time chewing the solid food. You understand? So for them, things like the object of refuge, sitting on the lion's throne. Who knows why we are so obsessed with the lion's throne? One would think it's so scary to sit on a, 8 lion underneath you. But anyway, Indians, they like these things, elephants. A lot of this came from India. And the Tibetans, they just buy it. They don't even ask questions. They don't. They say, oh yeah, it has to be good because it came from India. They call India Pakwi Yul, the land of Aryas. In fact, the Tibetans paid a lot of gold, offered a lot of gold, and asked them questions and asked them for teachings. But lotus? Have you ever thought about that? India, they have lotus in India. That's why, your lotus feet. What does that mean for a French? How do you say in French, by the way? Your lotus feet. What? Feet the lotus? And if somebody says this to you, do you feel like sort of itchy? What do you feel? It doesn't mean anything. Your lotus feet. But Tibetans love this Shabdul Pem or something. Some Tibetans, they just relentlessly write, even today. Every Tibetan, when they write to me, so and so, Shabji Pem Dumdu. They write like these guys, they always write to me like this. In fact, I'm thinking I'm going to organize with the Tibetan lamas and rinpoches, Tibetan lamas and rinpoches, I'm going to have a crash course on how to talk in the WhatsApp. Because some of them, there's a guy, he's in Kalimpong, by the way. His name is Lama Chada. I have to actually spell it out, his name is. Please give him this message. Most of the time, I will receive about 10 messages. Okay? 10 lines. Each of them like 59 seconds. So I usually skip about 9. The last one, usually that there is whatever. So it begins with things like, you whose name cannot be uttered. Is that very Indian? Has to be, right? You whose name cannot be uttered. You who is like the sun and the moon, the combination, the embodiment of all the Buddhas, you who I sort of stumble into, stuff like this. Still they write like that. Same messages like this. It's a very, very, culture. Sometimes it's beautiful. Other times, especially if you're about to board a plane and you need to pass an important message, it's so annoying. Anyway, your lotus feet, like lotus. And Tibet don't have lotus. In Tibet, probably now they do, maybe they have air-conditioned room. Never used to have lotus. So have you noticed in the Tibetan Thangkas, the lotus they painted are mostly wrong. It doesn't look like that. Most of the lotus doesn't look like that. But who cares? But anyway, how did the conversation reach to here? What was I saying? Do you know? Anybody? What? Taking refuge? Yes. Taking refuge. So, taking refuge to the Buddha, meaning taking refuge to the nature of your mind for the Tantra, but also Shakyamuni Buddha, okay? Not excluded at all. Relative refuge, fine, still good. Taking refuge to the Dharma is not necessarily of course it is taking refuge to the teachings of the Buddha that is taught by the Buddha, but also the truth of the phenomena, such as all compounded things are impermanent, all emotions are pain, so on and so forth. But for the Tantra, there's another truth. Everything is just a deity. That is what you are taking refuge to. When we say we take refuge to the Dharma, we are taking refuge to the fact that everything is Deva, or Guru, or Dakini. Okay, different sadhana. Now, Sangha needs a little bit of. Sangha is usually understood as the community, usually the Sangha is also referred to ordained community who have, sort of renounced mundane life to the life of seeking the, path that will lead them to liberation, not only for themselves, but for the others. So very, very holy object. That is there. We very much. That's a fundamental. But the Sangha, especially in the Vajrayana, is I think the easiest way to talk about the Sangha for the public, audience like this is I'm going to borrow. What's the first name of Huxley? Aldous Huxley. I'm going to borrow his term, servitude. Servitude? That is the Sangha. Servitude. This. Servitude, right? Like, I need to call somebody, I can use phone. So it serves me. But the thing is, I surrender to this. Internet, social media. But then when things get a little bit, things get complicated, CCTV, what do you call it? CCTV. What do you call it? Yeah, CCTV. Yes, now it is getting complicated because CCTV, it's good for protection, but then, you don't want to be also photographed, right? CCTV, I don't know, shopping in Amazon, it's kind of, easy. You just order whatever you want to order, but then they know what you want. So next you get all this, and then you end up buying all of them. So servitude, I would say, for the modern people to understand is servitude. So I think Huxley, I think so, if I'm not wrong. I think Huxley and I think Huxley said something like, basically, there's only one dictator there is really, totalitarian. Real totalitarian is the servitude system. And it's very, very difficult because you want security, you want easy things, you want it's nice to have a, what you call it, machine-readable immigration, right? Immigration, but you also know they know everything. So this is what we have. So it's a system or it's a service, I guess you can call it. And Sangha is a big support. I'm not only talking about this kind of Sangha, which is also important because of support. You don't know page numbers, you ask them. You don't know where to go to Deer Park, you ask them. Probably they will help you, probably not. Most of the Sanghas are always a little bit rushed. You understand? So all of that Sangha, there's that. But when the servitude is all devas, when you relate to everything as a deva, then you are all together having different kinds of servitude. Servitude, I think is the right word. So, in the Tantra, the Sangha is usually all the they call it. All beings are Dakas and Dakinis. All beings are Devas. Therefore, and that is never going to falter. You just surrender to that. It's a difficult one. Anyway, let's finish with the refuge. So that's usually there is a refuge right at the beginning. Okay? And it's a foundation. You have to have it. If you don't have the refuge, if you do not accept that you have the innate deity, if you do not accept that you are the deity, sadhana doesn't work right away. The whole purpose. So, you could be doing the sadhana, but then it might as well just go to any kind of a theistic tradition that believes in God that is outside existing, who's kind of going to give you the reward or punishment or whatever. So, so that ingredient of refuge, that's one very important structure. Now the next one, Bodhicitta. Oh, so important. Bodhicitta, such a big subject also. So, very, very, very kindergarten level of bodhicitta is, I want to help everyone. I want to really save everyone. I want to really give everyone massage. That level, which is fine. You can also visualize yourself into millions and think that you are massaging simultaneously everyone, stuff like that. Kindergarten. And things like all my happiness giving to everyone, all other people's pain, stuff like that. So things like, I want to practice this sadhana to enlighten all sentient beings. That's like a junior high school level Bodhicitta. And the highest, not the highest, but quite high, maybe master's degree level, is when you look at when you look at the sentient beings, it's like you are famished. It's like a gold merchant facing with a land field of ore. It's all gold. So your attitude to sentient beings is like, oh my goodness, Buddha it's all Buddhas. Actually, the job of enlightening others, awakening others, the real 99.99.99 is done by the others already, because the others have the body, Buddha nature. You can't make it anyway. They have it. You don't have to upgrade it. You don't have to download it. You don't have to insert. You cannot. They all have it. This knowledge, having this attitude, gold merchant looking at a dirty, like ugly ore, and getting so excited, just as excited as finding a polished, shiny gold. Like that. This is, master level of Bodhicitta. And this is master level because this will not make you tired. Okay, you are trying to, help somebody who will really sort of annoy you. It doesn't matter. Anyway, he or she is already sort of, without my help anyway, he or she is good. So you will never give up. Otherwise, me trying to make this stone into gold, I will be tired after a while and I'll be disappointed. It's never going to become gold. But if this is an ore, I can beat it, burn it, and then it will get, but of course, sometimes I will also get tired, right? Because I myself am not that perfect. But there's a very strong belief and acceptance that this is all, for lots of reasons. Anyway, that, highest level of the Bodhicitta, knowing that all sentient beings are deity anyway. Awakened, I'm borrowing Longchenpa's word. All sentient beings are awakened. What are you talking about? Who? Who is not ignorant? Who is ignorant? All I see is Buddhas without any, not a single one is not Buddha. That is quite a high level Bodhicitta. That's the Bodhicitta, ultimate Bodhicitta. So that's the sadhana. So this exists in the sadhana, second part. Is that a sign of saying break? I don't know, you tell me, okay? When is it? Now? Really? Oh, yes. Okay. Just want to wrap up the Bodhicitta, and the Refuge and the Bodhicitta. Just some details, like there is usually help, even though I have told you the essential part, there are always the methods like visualizing the object of the refuge on the tree. Oh, I have a feeling this is a very Indian thing. Indians love trees. I have noticed this. When Indian tourists come to Bhutan, I've always noticed they either take photos in front of a tree or a water. They love trees. I don't know. Bodhi tree, all these trees. So anyway, we have a lineage tree. You must have seen this, a big tree, and in the center sits the main one, and on the branches, actually, for a French, I don't know, it must not be that inspiring, like everybody, like on the branches. Like, have you been to Morocco where all these goats are sitting on the big tree? Like, complete filled by goats. So I'm sure the French, connection with Morocco, when the lamas talk about the refuge tree, I'm sure sometimes the goat image, this sounds like a goat eating leaves. But anyway, this is cultural. Okay? I can go, if you want me to, I can sell tree. I can say, oh, the tree must, not, must be tree, because the tree is this, that, I can, but no need. I guess it has a practical reason, right? To put it all like, in the center is that this, on the right branch is this, on the left branch is this. So, but anyway, there is that kind of visual. And what I want to say is this. Remember, I said method and wisdom? Remember? So in the sadhana also, praying, I take refuge, Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, or, I take refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, visualization, the trees, method. What is wisdom? Refuge trees, all the object of refuge dissolve into you. You and the object of refuge become inseparable. Wisdom. So, wisdom and the method are the main ingredient. Okay, we take a break for tea. How long? Okay, 30 minutes. Everybody's here. Okay, I'll read it anyway. Jagarkedu Bhagavati Praja Paramita Ritya Bhagakedu Jumdenda Masharabachi Parutishimbiningo Bambachigo Tiketaki Tabat Pujina Jumdenda Jabikap Jabi Pungujila Gelongi Gindin Chimbotang Chanju Simbi Gindin Chimbotang Tapchidu Jude Deity Jumdenda Samuno Shaja Chuji Namranji Dingan Yumbershuso Yang Deity Chanju Simba Sambachim Abachel Sibanchu Shirachi Padishimba Samijuban Nila number tashing Pumbong about the Dalaya, Ranjiji Tomba number town. Tenesanji to set on the Basharipu, Chanjusamba Sambachimba Pabachelizi, want you to dig it in Rasso, Rich Bukan, La Shirachi Padishimba Samijuba Juba de Bati, Chidra Rabarcha, Ticket in Rabatan, Chanjusamba Sambachim Pabachelizi, want you key, set on the Bashara, the Dibula Digit in Rasso. Sheribu Richipuam, Richipumakano, the Sheribu Paritu Chimba, Sami Chepa Dubati, Ditter number Tavarchate. Tungonga Poteta Ranjinji Tomba number Yamba Bajista, Zutomba, Tompani Zuso, Zulet Tompani Shem Mai, Tompani Legend Zushan Maino. Asian to Trovadan, Tushitan, Tujetan, number 7 Tombo, Sheribu, Tetavena, Tetar, Chutam, Tompani, Tinimeba, Machiba, Manga, Tumameba, Timatam Tower, Tubameba, Kamameba, Sheribu, Tetavena, Tompani, Zume, Tsurame, Dushime, Dujiname, number 7 me, Migme, Naome, Name, Cheme, Lume, Yime, Zume, Dame, Dime, Rome, Regime, Chum, Metal. Migi come mepan each come each number ship comes part of meadow. Maripa me, Maripa 7 mepan gashi me, gashi sebi part of meadow. Tashin to Tung Hawadan, Kunjumadan, Gopadan Lame, Ishime, Toba me, Matoba meadow. Shadipu, Tetavana, Chanjusan, number Toba me picture, Sheriff's partition, but tenching net, similar dipum, the Tapa mete. Chinchilole, Shinto, Ten, and young and the Debbie Tachinto. The number should be such a time to share the part of the symbol then the Lana Meba Yanda Zovic and to number of a son Jeso. Tetavena, share which part of the Chimbinga, Ribachimbinga, Lana Mebinha, Minyam by the number Chibinga, do not observe the Shiva Chibinha, Mizumbel and Temba Shepherd, the share which part of the Chimbingham Rapa. Theatre, Kadegate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisoha, Sheripu, Chanjusamba Samba Chimbu. That a share which part of the Chimba Samora Laberchow. Then a jump in the things in the Leshing day, Chanjus and Sambachimba, Havajandas of Manchu, Leso, Shejavajini, Lexo, Richie Potet, Tation day. Chita Church at Ambashin to share which part of the Chimba Samo. La, Jeperchet, the Tishin on the Jisu Yiram, Jumlin, the Chitigashi Katsane, Sadam Damba, Sharat, the Tiputam, Chanjusamba. Jeris one chutam, Tamjet and the Becord, the Tadam, Padam, Mitam, Hamaindam, Desert Jebijin Yirante. Jumping the Jisung Balanga but dead all. Same. Okay, you can go now. The South Indian music, you know, the chant. Anyway, we will talk about chant and song because it's part of the sadhana, you know. This is the beautiful part, you know, the aspect of the sadhana. Anyway, rain, no more rain, it's okay, right? Is there? I think it's okay. Stopped. Okay. So, I will talk a little bit more through the sadhana, main body, and then I will let you ask questions. I'm using just the general sadhana structure. So the refuge, the bodhicitta, and sometimes there's something called accumulation of merit. The English word merit probably is not doing the justice. In Tibetan we call it sonam. I don't know whether this is good translation. Kushala. in Pali or Sanskrit. Anyway, it's something to do with the ability. Maybe merit is okay. It's like merit is so it's just the ability, ability to. Okay, probably you will understand this. Maybe like if you're an artist, whatever, photography, let's say, somebody like Cartier-Bresson, the French photographer, or Madayo, the Japanese, some really simple, mundane situation of the world, life, like a boy carrying a bottle of wine or a baguette, and he takes the photo like instantly, and he doesn't even aim. Most of his photographs are not even focused properly, but it's just so, so beautiful. It's just so there. I guess the ability to observe, ability to hear, ability to listen, ability to interpret, ability to say things, ability. Everybody has some ability, actually. Some people have probably more, but in the dharmic context, the ability to really accept the non-duality, this is a big ability. If it does not shock you to have 4 Avalokiteshvara, right now, it's nothing to do with like, probably you are not shocked because you are jaded. We are not talking about that. We are talking about actually it's almost moving you. It's actually, like really like exciting you almost. It's an ability to really reap the profit. There's just so much harvest. There's so much things to harvest. Anywhere you grab, there's something that you can just grab there, free of charge even. Ability to really. This is actually taught in the sutras a lot. Ability to understand, but mainly ability to really appreciate and understand and like and love and adore shunyata, or dependent arising. When we, even on the intellectual level, that's quite a big ability. But if you don't have that ability, then you are deprived from this wealth, abundance, ability to look at glass of water and totally accepting that I see this as a water, somebody else doesn't. And a tantric yogi see this as a mamakidagini. Accept it. Totally appreciate it, and in fact even share the joy of that their phenomena, their perception. Empathy also, it's a very big word, sonam. So usually it comes with something to do with a tsosa, we call it. Tso is ganna, like a gathering. And usually 2 types of, there again, 2 types of accumulation. The accumulation of merit and accumulation of wisdom, but usually accumulation of merit. And then always using the incredible Mahayana and the Tantric method. And remember, the methods are always, many times the methods are almost like unlikely. Remember, I don't know whether I'm putting it right. Like for instance, rejoice is one of the merit-making device or a method. You don't need to, lift one finger. Others do all kinds of things, and then you rejoice, and then you accumulate a lot of merit. It's in the sutra called, I don't know, in the Sanskrit, Bhagavad-gita. It's a collection of all the essence of all the sutra. This is where Buddha said, "Tonsum rirap sangla shalve tsezuru jisu yirang gevalani tether min." If all the mountains of the world are, cut and put on one scale, and if the merit of rejoicing somebody's virtue is put on the other scale, this, the second one still you will sort of lower much faster. And this is what Buddha said. So see, it's something so simple, rejoicing. So there's usually 7 or 8, like Yenla Dun, we call it, 7 like prostrations. Prostration is one big one. Prostration is it's like showing, okay, I give up, you win, kind of, I surrender to you, something like that, surrendering. And then offerings of all kinds. But again, in the Mahayana and the Tantra, the actual offerings such as flowers, incense, that you can actually get it physically, but more importantly, the visualized, manifested. You can visualize quantities, like the whole world's, I don't know, pedicure, manicure shops. It doesn't matter, whatever comes in your mind, whatever is valuable for you. Like for me, pedicure, manicure. I had never been in one. But some of you must be at least a weekly visit, right? So it's important. So whatever, we tend to think gold is precious, so gold. But under Yoga Tantra, now, okay, even the offerings has a hierarchy. Flowers, incense, okay, sort of a kindergarten level offerings. Then bigger, more advanced. Your nose, ear, eyes, the whole thing, just blood, whatever. And then higher, your anger, your distractions, your laziness. This is the method. How great is this? You like to sleep 12 hours? My laziness, I offer this. You are, accumulating merit by sleeping 12 hours. This is the Tantra. It's called the, path of bliss. Mind you, when you think like that, then your sleep will become less. It's always like this. Your laziness, your, procrastination. All of that is an offering, the highest. Okay, so, and also the turning the wheel of the Dharma. Asking the Buddhas to teach. You can also ask a master to teach. You can also ask the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Very, very important method and a skillful method. You should not think like, oh, there is no Buddha or Bodhisattvas I can ask. You just ask Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are in the past, present, of course, even the future Buddhas, you ask. Oh, I almost forgot something so incredible about Buddha Dharma, especially especially in the Tantra. You confess, not the right word, shapa, we call it, like purification of misdeeds, confession. We even confess the misdeeds that hasn't happened even. How incredible is that? A lot of people you can, it's sort of understandable. We did something bad in the past. You confess this, you can understand. But we confess even the misdeeds that we will be doing in the future. Tantra. This is the wealth of the tantric wisdom. Okay, so there's the accumulation of merit. Okay, now normally begins with the main part of the sadhana. So main part of the sadhana always begins with a, you can call it meditation or dwelling, invocation, acknowledgement of shunyata. And we do that in many different ways. You can even, if you are someone who who needs lots of foreplay, then you can think like, okay, everything is my perception. Nothing really exists outside. It's true. People, sometimes I feel somebody's bad, but someone else thinks he's good. So this proves that this badness is actually not there. Like that. If you have time, and if you are those kind of people who likes foreplays, and if you're kind of those who are kind of like not easily aroused, I guess. So you need a lot of that. But if you are more confident with your practice and your view, by then you have developed a certain confidence with the shunyata, then you can either chant the mantra such as Om Subhava Shuddha Sarva Dharma Subhava Shuddho Hang, or Om Mahashunyata Jana Vajra Subhava Emakyo Hang, or Om, or nothing. You just, dwell in the emptiness. Now, how to dwell in the emptiness? Of course, obviously, you do not construct emptiness, because then it's a self-defeating. Emptiness is not like a bulldozer that goes around and destroy everything, cut the trees, clear the things. No. Whatever comes in your mind, a thought, just be aware of that. Do not judge, do not alter, do not fabricate, do not go, do not go after it, do not entangle with it. Just know that. If you are a beginner practitioner, you will not be able to dwell on that for more than 2 seconds. That's good enough. 2 seconds of dwelling on this state I think will dismantle at least 1 eon's defilement. Really. It's already confusing the chain of thoughts. You are orderly, chain of thoughts that walks like ants, the army of ants, one after another. In the 2 seconds or 1 second of just knowing is going to be like, touching in between 2 ants. The second ant is going to get so confused. Different smell, no heat. I don't know, whatever the reason why they are always after one another. And that's good enough. That disruption is good enough. You should be happy. Sometimes I know there are some people here who are so impatient. They said they practiced for a few years and said, why am I not flying? Why I don't have a halo? You are not thinking from the big picture, You have been in this entanglement for eons and eons and eons. It's a little unfair to yourself. All you did is few years, not so much actually. So that's it. That is the base of the sadhana, remember? Shunyata. And then usually out of the emptiness, a lotus always comes. Or a seed syllable, but lotus usually. Something like this. Well, yeah, it's a very Indian thing, but I think we have no other replacement. Rose will do, I guess. I don't know. Maybe lotus, yeah. Potato, if you are French, what do you think? It's really strange, right? Or tomato, if you are Italian? Onion, if you are Indian? No, not that. I don't know. No, Indians have the lotus. So, but I'm just telling you the culture thing. But some of this cultural thing has some significance. Like the lotus is quite good because supposedly it is born from the mud, yet it is not stained, right? So there's that. The potato, I don't know whether this will work with the potato. I don't think so, right? Tomato works. Years ago, when beer was so poor, we don't have much tomatoes. And I remember, Chokling Monastery, which is my neighbor, they don't have a good toilet at that time. So the little monks, they shit outside. And during the summertime, from their shit grows the tomato. Really good ones, red. They look really good. Anyway, this is, what is it? Yeah, lotus usually. Okay, then usually sun and moon also. Now we are going into deeper tantric stuff. When we talk about sun and moon, actually even the lotus, but let's tonight just talk about the sun and moon, and then I will let you ask the question. The sun and moon business is such an important part of the tantric study. Now, generally in Buddhism, up to Mahayana Buddhism, and probably even Kriya Tantra, they make quite a big distinctions between mind and body. Like, Shantadeva said, Lula, Dui, Lojakte, you should consider the body as a boat. You use it to go other side, and once you go other side, the boat is not really useful. Likewise, sometimes, because the boat is necessary to go to the other side, you should mend it, take care of it, but you should not also put every energy and time and resources just fixing the body, because at the end, your mind, the one that is traveling, is the more important than the boat, so on and so forth. So in Mahayana, body and the mind are two separate things, right? Okay, just generally, this is a big generalization. But when it comes to the Tantra, body, speech, and mind are not really separate. They are kind of intertwined. This is why they talk about Kaya Vajra, Vaka Vajra, Chitta Vajra, like the body, speech and mind stuff. But anyway, so body is so important for the Vajrayana Tantra. Anything related to body is also very important. This is why the Tantra also, in fact, encourages you. Definitely, they say, do not abuse body. And do not abuse body does not, we are not even talking about things like, you should not, I don't know. Some people are talking about things like, we should not have an injection. I don't know, that one bit, maybe. But basically, the Tantra is essentially, Tantra is about being comfortable being comfortable with your mind and with your body. Being comfortable. You have to be comfortable. I don't know whether this makes sense. It's perfect. Since here we need to sort of talk about complete sadhana, you have to bear this one. So anything that is related to the body is important. And also, Tantra likes things like things that creates a result of sort of mind-body meeting sensations. I'm making it very cryptic, I guess. Such as this, like stroking, body sensations, liking, not like, I don't know. Yeah, I know I'm sort of getting to the, rated R a little bit. But these are never looked down. But this is also creating a lot of confusion. These are not real, because this is such an important moment also for the Tantrikas. Anyway, supposedly there's juice that flows in your body that travels through two different channels. There's technical, and the chakras, they talk about chakras, channels, letters. But anyway, two channels, let's concentrate on the two channels. And through these two channels, a lot of energy, you can use the word energy if you are new agey. I think Tantra might want to use the word juice, liquid, probably even better, energy. Of course. Even though the Chinese word qi seems to be quite good, interesting. And, even in the Mahayana, not Tantra, Mahayana, Chittamata school say, everything is just your mind. Remember? That's in the Mahayana. Everything is your mind, perception. You see something beautiful, it's just your mind. Something little bit close to, what is it? Cave allegory of Plato, right? Yeah, cave, I'm sure some of you know this. It's slightly similar. But in the Tantra, remember, body, mind, and the speech are similar thing. So, I don't know how to say this, but bluntly, crudely, I will say, not only everything is your mind, everything is also your body. So, because of these two channels and the way it flows, this juice inside these two channels, sun and moon just happen to be there. So-called the outside, sun and moon. And this is such a big subject, because we have to learn about the waning and the waxing, and how this is related to the oceans, tide, and then it also relates to the monthly, usually people think it only happens to the female, but actually menstruation, right? It actually exists with everyone. And then this also interferes with the mood. When certain stage, you don't want to be too obnoxious, I guess, moody, all of that. Such an important engine of phenomena. So, anyway, background of the sun and moon. Quite an important part of the tantric whatever. Usually, lotus moon disk. It's like a rug used as a sitting on the moon and the sun, or a moon alone or a sun alone. But you just have to keep in mind, it's not a sofa seat or a rug. It's just that you are just sitting on your perception, and especially important perception. And keep in mind that when we talk about a perception in the Tantra, it's not only mental perception. Remember, body, speech, and mind are sort of intertwined. And this is actually quite, it's good. Yeah, it is very, very comfortable. Whenever biologists and DNA people talk about it, I feel very comfortable. It really, okay, yeah, this is fine. So, okay, that's it. I'll let you ask questions now. Is Deepa here? Deepa Thakur? Okay.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Can you speak a little bit about speech and the throat chakra?
Okay. We will talk about mantra because that's a part of the sadhana. So, yeah. Are you coming back tomorrow?
Yes, but
Okay.
I'm wondering also about the syllable and
Yes, definitely we will cover this. And can someone remind me tomorrow morning? We will start from the Vajra. The Vajra, the Vajra. So we will start from there. Okay. Maybe just pass it. Yeah.
Rinpoche, it will be a little technical question about, can you please explain in more detail what is luminosity? Cell, basically.
Luminosity?
Because I think there are a lot of misunderstanding of this term.
Yes, this is a big question. If you are asking a Nyingmapa, they will say something slightly different from the other schools also. But anyway, luminosity is not necessarily subjective, objective thought. Subject, object thought, such as kids crying, evening, that kind of thoughts. It's not that. That it is a display of luminosity. But luminosity is a name given to, it's not a thought, but it is a knowing, it's a cognizance.
We have two aspects, self and Vita.
Yes, that's what I mean. That's you are talking about the Nyingmapa's term. Yes, that's like the wisdom, if you want to translate. But Sal, it just means like, it's definitely not a flashlight kind of cell. Even the darkness is a cell. Even the darkness you cognize, you notice. You understand? Yeah, so cell. Okay, I will answer you in a very academic way. The cell is really described by Chittamata school, Samtsamba, very well. Subject and object are interdependent. That is quite a good description of cell. So, it's like, before you know me, I never exist for you. That's the cell. You understand? Yeah. What's the color of my underwear right now? There you go. It's not cell. It's not luminous to you. And It's pink. And now, there's a lot of cell in your head. Oh, who am I listening to? Am I in the right place? Stuff like this. So that is all a cell becoming bigger. Okay, one or two more questions?
Thank you, Rinpoche, for the teaching. My question is, since we are talking about deity and there are so many, they all are one in a sense, of course, but how one knows who is one's karmic deity or how this works in a progress?
It's just like how you choose a partner. You kind of know, but kind of not know, and you sort of you have to sort of try it out, and if it doesn't work, you temporarily divorce and choose another one, and then go through the, all the guilt feeling of being disloyal to Manjushri, secretly practicing, Avalokiteshvara, and then asking lamas, is that okay? Meanwhile, the Buddha, the omniscient, the non-dualist, what is going on? I am one and, I'm the same, appearing from 10 directions, because there's 10 different windows, like that. What else? Okay, Sanji. What are you going to ask me?
Thank you, Rinpoche. Rinpoche, from the tantric point of view, how should one understand the meaning of the English word simultaneity? And what is the role of time in that?
Actually, important. There is no two. So actually the simultaneous is convenient. It's a made-up language. It's like bardo, that people have been talking. Bardo means in between, right? But actually, so when we talk about in between, there's this and there's this. So in between is this. But actually there's no this, no this. So there's no bardo. There's just no time, remember? So it's a bit like this. So, but having said all of that, this nothingness, yet that very nothingness, everything, or okay, this nothingness and the luminous. So they appear to be sort of different. And there is no, the second portion of the question is like time, did you say? Yeah, there is no time. That's the best word we can come up with is hen, which means simultaneous, together. These are the challenges of trying to interpret one culture's thinking. Because when you talk about the time, you are talking about this department of the duality. So I'm talking about Sahaja. And for the sake of awakening ourselves, we need to talk about it. But when we talk about it, the language only belongs to this department. So we have to use the tools of this to describe this. This is why actually Shakyamuni Buddha, immediately after he achieved enlightenment, he said, I will remember the subject of you know, this sentence where he said profound, brilliant, just truth that I have discovered, but nobody is going to hear. Therefore, I am not going to speak. Now, many people interpret this as, okay, just straightforward. Nobody is going to understand, I'm not teaching. But in the Tantra, according to the Tantric people, they will say, that's it. This was his teaching, and in fact, it is the teaching that all teachings are supposed to end up with. So supposedly stories he cannot teach, nobody's going to hear, and then the, you know, Indians, they always have the stories. Indra, the Brahma, they come and say, oh, no, don't do that. You know how you have promised yourself for eons, you are going to benefit here, there. So they requested. I hope I answered your question. Looks like you are not satisfied.
I'm still trying to feel.
Okay. That's a good response. Actually, this is the best. Feel. You can really actually feel it, but you cannot. It's like, it's in the Tantra again. Like a dumb eating sweet, you should chew. Don't know how to say it because it's dumb. So don't know how to say it's sweet to others, but he knows. There's, okay, after this maybe Badri.
Then what's the point of everything? I mean, it puts me in such a dilemma that I really have to ask this question.
What's the point of?
Like, anything. I mean,
I will answer you in many different ways for this. Actually nothing. This is what exactly Longchenpa said on the ultimate level. But on the other hand, the very reason why there's a point is because you asked, what's the point? There is a longing for a point, a purpose. And this is because you know, because you are not dwelling on that sahaja. You are dwelling on this. So there's a lot of points. Okay? Badri, here? Oh, yeah.
In tantric practice, the symbols, the language, I guess even the thoughts we have, you said that they depend a lot on cultural context. And I'm just trying to understand if we switch our perception that we have of things, like of an object, of even words perhaps, of even actions perhaps, is that what potentially makes anything skillful or unskillful, our relationship with the thing, not necessarily the cultural agreed upon meaning of it, but its meaning to us?
I think I'm getting what you are saying. Yes, actually, but the other way, not switch, you know, you might as well not switch. Did you say switch the perception? Like,
No, I didn't say sweets.
switch.
Switch, yes, switch.
Yes, switch. Yes.
Exactly.
Actually, no need. Because it's an extra effort. Why do that? That's what the tantric would say. Just keep it like that. But I guess you may hear it as that's a switching, which is fine then. That's exactly, you can even say to me, oh, you know, aren't we switching from 2 arms to the 4 arms? Okay, in that case, fine.
Thank you.
Okay, they'll take. After this, we will, please keep your questions. We will have a lot of time. And after this, we finish. There's something going on.
Thank you, Rinpoche. While doing sadhana, one always refers to some detailed liturgy and instruction saying that you need to visualize this first, and then you need to chant this 3 times, and then this symbol and that symbol, and you have to offer these substances, etc. And sometimes one is torn between whether one needs to follow that to the letter, or can one improvise based on contingencies. Like for instance, I've heard you also say that if you don't have this particular substance, you may offer this instead.
Yes. Remember? Wisdom and method. Always keep that in mind. This is a really, really important. So important. My own guru, Japjit Guchenjar Rinpoche, is a really good example. He can be very fussy with all this substance. Everything has to be in order. But at the same time, sometimes he would just use an apple and give initiations, using the apple as the substance. The elegance, outrageousness, and bravery, courage of knowing, And this is a very big advice from like Guru Rinpoche. Not to, your action as subtle as flower, your view as vast as sky. Oh, so many, many, many. There's so many, And this is actually, forget Tantra, even in the Mahayana, even the Prasangika Madhyamikan, Uma-Thanjurva, one of the most important quality of Uma-Thanjurva is Tongpa Nila Jaje Rungwa, meaning you accept the Shunyata, but you also never violate the order of cause and effect. This is the beauty of the Aprasangika Madhyamikan. This is so magical, it's really good. Nothing truly exists, but one is before 2, 2 is in between 1 and 3. And and 1, 2, 3 are all joke. It still works. Okay.